So, you don't even know what I'm talking about.
So what's going on with the E-Coli outbreak? Have you seen anything on it?
So, I guess the good news is that the E. coli outbreak, the burger meat came from a company called K2D Foods, and it was only sold to restaurants, not to grocery stores.
Oh.
So, our little Publix ground beef is cool. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Publix ground beef is cool. Walmart ground beef is cool.
Yeah, all that's good.
Good, because that's where we be getting our ground beef from. And I'm not really trying to... I don't want to be sick. I mean, you cook burgers. What was that?
Man,
Saturday? Yeah, you cooked those burgers on Saturday. And Sunday. I ain't want them the mugs to be infected now.
And they was already looking crazy.
I know, man. You told me that the burger tastes so good, and then you gonna come out and tell me, man, that thing was great, looking crazy.
Yeah, we thawed it out in the fridge. Oh no. Yeah. And all the blood from the burger went to the bottom of the bag. You know what I'm saying?
It's probably because it was sitting in that freezer. And was that what bled all over the bottom of our...
That's what was bleeding all over the fridge.
I was so hurt for you because I know you cleaned out the entire bottom of our refrigerator.
From the pork chops.
Put that from the pork chops that I made. Then we put the hamburger in the fridge. And now it's covered with blood all over again. And I'm like,
listen, we got to do better. We got to get this thing figured out.
We should have probably just put the ground beef on a plate. But, we be out the door rushing. Also, we're lazy bums, so we didn't think to do that. But I just felt bad for you because I came in. Well, the first thing when I came in, I just smelled that aroma of the hamburger. And I was like, oh, my God, that smells so good. I'm totally not just going to come home and go to sleep like I planned on doing. Because I planned on coming home from work and just going straight to sleep because I knew I had to go back in and work 6 to 10. Or not 6 to 10, 7 to 11 that Sunday. But then I smelled the aroma of that burger. I was like, oh, there's no way. So I went, heated up the burgers, ate them, cut on the Rockets Jazz game, and it was all over. I didn't go to bed till 1, and I had to wake up at 5:45 so I can get ready, go out the door, and go to Wawa and get me some coffee and burritos. I mean, those burgers just ruined my whole night.
The first round of the NBA playoffs with a lot of beef, that'll put you to sleep real quick.
Man,
real quick.
I mean, that didn't put me to sleep. It should have put me to sleep. But it didn't, and it was just, I got entranced in the game. I started getting a little chill with the food. I was in
so you're saying you didn't fall asleep?
No, I didn't fall asleep until I didn't go to bed until 1 o'clock.
Listen, man.
And then I had to wake up because I watched the entire game. I couldn't help myself. I mean, first of all, I thought that game was going to be a blowout. I thought that the Jazz were just going to lay down and get the business. But then that game ended up being close. And Harden was playing so bad that I was like, are we on the precipice of seeing something historically bad? So then I was intrigued. And once I found, and when I watch sports, all it takes is a little bit of intrigue and I can't go to sleep. I can't even leave the sport. I can't even do necessary things that I need to do. I just watch and watch and watch and watch. So once I started seeing that, and I started seeing that it was a pretty good game, and Harden was really struggling from the field, I was stuck like Chuck. I wasn't going to bed. I wasn't going to sleep. So, yeah, I ended up staying up to 1 o'clock, and I had to go to work early in the morning and work all day, and that's why I was on fumes that Sunday. That was a pretty tragic day, but it was all thanks to them burgers. And then you want to tell me later, oh, them things was gray and dusty. I hope you're okay. I was like, what? So you was you trying to kill me?
I ate them too, my nigga.
That's true. So
I mean, you know me. If it would have been 3 burgers in there, right? No, 4. Right? It would have been 4 because I cooked 4, right. And I ate one myself. But
So
you knew I ate one.
We're all here alive. We're alert. We're awake, and we're enthusiastic. So we're here with you. So welcome to the Panda Podcast. You're here with your surly competitive host, the Panda, alongside his brother from the same mother and his best bud, Rat Cat.
Listen, forgive me if I said any dumb shit in the first 5 minutes. I just got overcome with sleepiness all of a sudden, man. It's like I couldn't even focus on what you were saying. Like I just was like in another fucking sleep rim galaxy. I was like, yo, what's going on, man?
Folks,
like,
our lives and sleep patterns are so jacked up now.
I'm about to go to work in like an hour and a half. I can't do this, man. Like this whole with these clients and sleeping on the couch and shit. Nah, I gotta get back to the regular. I gotta be
get back to the regular shit.
I gotta be a 9 to 5 nigga, or I gotta be this art nigga that I've been, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
grinding on that.
If opportunity calls for you, we'll see what you do. But for now, you're with us here on the Panda Podcast. Shout out to all our listeners and subscribers. I think like the 10 of you. Do we even have 10? I don't even know, but we're just going to continue to work at it. I say thank you to all of you that did subscribe. The one thing I will ask is if you watch this and you like and you subscribe and you continue to support and stick with us, that if you really do like us and really rock with what we're doing, can you tell 3 other people that you know and have them listen? And if they like what they heard, can they tell 3 more people? So then that way we start to branch this thing out a little bit. The next day, you know, we got Panda Podcast Nation. And it'll all be because of you guys and you guys spreading the word about what we're doing and what we're trying to make happen here. So all you got to do is just tell 3 people you know. I mean, you could probably tell your mom, your dad, and your best friend. And they can listen to us, think they're dope, and they can go on and tell 3 more people. If all those people start to tell more people, we start to build up a following. We start to build up a fan base. Next thing you know, we rocking and we rolling, and mad people are listening to us. So, again, just you simply listening to us is more than I could ask for. I really appreciate what you're doing. But if you really like and are rocking with what we're doing, just tell 3 other people. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah, we're going to send you a free t-shirt. A Panda Podcast t-shirt if you tell 3 people. I'm just talking shit. I'm just talking. I told you I'm sleepy. I'm just talking shit. I'm telling y'all right now, we don't have a t-shirt. We can make one, though.
Oh, we got
That's what I do. I draw. We got a logo. We'll make it specific, fan specific. Maybe we'll call y'all the zoo. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the animals. Yeah. You feel me? A rat, cat, and a panda. But
the bamboo crew.
The bamboo crew.
I like that. That's got a nice little ring to it.
Anyway,
I'm
just talking shit. We're gonna get you a t-shirt. We probably not gonna get you if you tell 3 people today, you're not gonna get a t-shirt. But if you wait another week, we got you on a t-shirt.
That t-shirt thing could really happen, and I want it to happen, but we'll see what we can do with that. We're gonna try to get our special guest today. Hopefully he answers his phone. He called me, but then something happened. Let's see if this works. Darn, we just can't seem to link up right now, but
we could try somebody else.
We're hoping to get my man Brandon on to talk some.
We got people.
A little bit of NBA basketball and some NFL draft, which is tomorrow. Because Lord knows I can't talk to Dijon about the draft because he don't care. He don't even like his team anymore. We might have to call old Jungle Cat Northcutt come on here and talk about the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm saying we know people. We could definitely put Northcutt on the line. He can tell me why I should give.
We can't talk to Rat Cat about the Bengals because he don't even care about them no more.
Tell me why I should give a damn.
And you realize Rat Cat is a tiger just like the Bengals, and you can't. You a tiger, man.
I hate myself.
What? You have got to get.
I hate myself.
I understand that the AFC North all around y'all is getting better.
I hate myself
for. Gotta stick in.
I want y'all to know this. Here, this is going to be like shocking to some people who think they know me, like my friends. Because really, of our 8 podcast followers right now, probably like they're all friends and family at this point. But they were going to be surprised and notice like. So I'm not the type of person that just like, oh, I live in this part of town, I'm gonna be a fan of this team just because everybody else is. Like, I'm not that guy. I do what I want to do because how it makes me feel, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm a Canes fan because Miami Hurricane fans. For y'all that don't know, a big Miami Hurricane fan. Why? Because they're like the hip hop team to me. You know what I'm saying? I remember growing up on seeing, Uncle Luke, 2 Live Crew. You know what I'm saying? Seeing Trick Daddy Dollars and all them in the videos. I was like, and I used to see Miami stuff all in the videos. I remember the little flip video he had on the Miami Ray Lewis old throwback joint. And I was like, yo, like, I love this. This the hip hop team. That's why I like that team. And, I could go down a list of other teams why I like them. But with the Bengals, it was the stupidest reason, maybe, of all time why I became a fan of the Bengals. And it's a good segue to, we're going to talk about the NBA. Fuck.
NFL draft.
I'm fucked up. We're going to talk about the NFL draft today. And interestingly enough, that's how I became a Bengals fan. I didn't have an NFL team, as a kid. I was like, yo, everybody likes the Cowboys. And I think the 49ers were good in those days. I was like, yo, I got to find me a team. And I can't be like everybody else. I'm not about to just be some Cowboys fan just because everybody else is. So I said, okay. I'm a college football fan, right? Believe it or not, even despite me being a Miami Hurricanes fan, my favorite college football player of that time, and even historically, my favorite college football player is Peter Ward. That's right, P-Dub from Florida State, the rival school. I know, I'm a weirdo.
Hey, man, I like players from my rival schools.
That's my favorite, my nigga P-Dub.
I'll admit it, I'm a Michigan fan, but I am a huge fan of Braxton Miller when he was at Ohio State.
Yeah.
I was a fan of Troy Smith, Andy Katzenmoyer, Terry Glenn, David Boston, Dwayne Haskins this year. There's Buckeyes that I definitely really like and root for because I just thought they were dope players. And I guess maybe I'm a weirdo too because I don't get all caught up in that rivalry stuff to that regard because I know there's some people that have told me like, Troy, I can't root for a Michigan player at all. And I'm like, but what if you just think the dude's game is nice? Like, why can't you just appreciate a good player?
Well, you have a special hatred in your heart for Michigan State. So is there Michigan State players that you appreciate?
Absolutely. Well, there's my classmate. Well, he was a year older than me, but there's my guy, B.J. Cunningham from Westerville South. Shout out to the Westerville South Wildcats. Go Cats. Let's see. There's, I know there's some other Michigan State guys. I kind of like Edwin Baker because he was in the 4 club. And
Edwin Baker, the touchdown maker?
Edwin Baker, the touchdown maker. He was in the 4 club.
I mean, you're struggling. Michigan State, to be honest, hasn't had a lot of great players. Ohio State is a lot easier because they have good players all the time.
Had more great players to name off the top, but Michigan State definitely's got some guys that I think more so in basketball because lately they've been recruiting some Central Ohio guys. Like they had Javon Best before he could transferred out to St. Louis, and Nick Ward now is from Gehenna Lincoln. So I watched him play against Devon's boys at Pickerington Central. So, but there's definitely, I'm not against rooting for Spartans too. I kind of like Brian Lewerke, but he was trash last year. So, I can't really rep for Lewerke when he was barely even better than Rocky Lombardi this year. But I think if Lewerke's healthy, man, he's nice, man. I'm a big fan of him. I think he could be really nice. It's really surprising that his tenure at Michigan State hasn't gone that well. I mean, they had a 10-3 season a couple years ago, but for the most part, it's been a bit disappointing during the Brian Lewerke era at Michigan State. When I think he had the potential to be as good as like a Connor Cook or a Kirk Cousins that came before him.
I always thought that you was a Drew Stanton guy.
Oh yeah, definitely like Drew Stanton. See, those are some guys I like Drew Stanton, Matt Trannon, Charles Rogers. He's funny because he be out there Lamborghini living and
he blew.
Watch Sports Center
at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
Hey, if you ever get a chance, you gotta watch that interview.
Man, that nigga was high.
Charles Rogers and Jamel Hill.
He didn't care.
That shit is hilarious.
He kept it a buck before keeping it a buck was a thing.
There's so many quotable. I still, to this day, quote that. He was like,
remember when you got in trouble on social media because you was quoting that?
That's because.
So then our uncle, rest in peace, he thought you was doing some exotic drugs or something.
So again, like I said, that interview,
which is crazy because he was probably doing exotic drugs.
And Charles Rogers,
I can't rest in peace,
was saying that he was Lamborghini living. So I said that.
Yeah.
And I said something about, I ain't blow or watch Sports Center, but I was Lamborghini living. I said something like that. I don't completely remember. God rest his soul. Rest in peace, Uncle Jock. I love you and I miss you.
Big time.
But he's that family member that he's just fear for, because when you do have Facebook, sometimes you don't want to accept your family members on there because they be doing too much. They comment on statuses in weird ways, especially the older people in the family. They comment on stuff in weird ways, and they're just awkward. And then even the cardinal sin that they do is they tell your parents your business when you're a grown person. And my Uncle Jock, again, rest in peace, he went and told my mom about that status. And my mom was like, she brought it up to me, and I just told her about it. Then I had to tell her about the Charles Rogers interview, and she was like, oh. I was like, why is my uncle snitching now? Like, and the funny thing about it is he's the most reckless dude. He was one of the most reckless.
That be the ones that be trying to tell you about what you shouldn't be doing. It's the niggas that's doing the most.
Which I guess I get.
Yeah, they got.
I'm not one of those people.
They're experiencing it firsthand.
You were doing all this, so how can you tell me? I personally think those probably are the best people to tell you.
Yeah, because they know
that you're doing a lot. You're doing wrong because they've been there. Yeah. They've experienced it. If you're a goody two shoes and you never do anything wrong, why should I hear from you about what happens when you do something wrong? There's no one better to tell you the negative consequences from a negative situation than somebody who's experienced negative consequences from a negative situation.
Right.
So I definitely think that my uncle, I would listen to him if he gave me advice on how to handle things of that matter and like negative consequences to negative situations. But he ain't have to go snitching on my mom to me about a status that he didn't completely understand.
That's why I was never.
He would have came to me and said something and be like, "Yo, you posting kind of wild on here. What's this all about?" I'm cool with that. Now maybe he doesn't understand and maybe he thought I would flip out on him or something like that, but I would have rather him just come and tell me, like, "Yo." That's why
I'm a little bit older than you. So when Facebook first came about, I was in college. So I thought that's what the spirit of Facebook was. It was like, okay, you in college, you know what I'm saying? You catch back up with the homies from high school, or not even the homies, some fuckers I didn't care about that but catch up with in high school, you know what I'm saying? And, you reconnect and all that. But so then when Facebook started to include high school students and like kids and like, moms and dads and people that was older than me, I was like, no, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. We combining too many worlds, you know, and that was my concern with stuff like that. Like, you got people in different, you know, parts of their life, encountering other people in other parts of their life. And then, you know, an interesting thing happens when that happens is like, so we like to older people like to act like they wasn't younger people, you know. So then when younger people do shit, they're like, oh, why are you drinking alcohol in college? Nigga, what nigga didn't drink alcohol in college? Like, you know, that's like what college students do. But, you know, you got these moms and pops on here and they tripping because, you know, my nigga Troy's in a photo with 7 white girls in a funnel, you know what I'm saying? Right. So they out of pocket like, yo, what's he doing? Like, yo, he's experiencing college just like you did. Right. You know, and then meanwhile you got on the other end of this thing, now you got little young people, okay, online. And the scariest thing is like little young girls like chopping it up with older niggas, and it's like really wild situations happening there. And for me, it was just like, initially I was like, I don't like this new where social media is going, because it just got a lot of people in trouble. It just created a lot of turmoil. Absolutely. But you know, with everything, you know, you kind of adjust with time, and we all sort of adjusted. You know, it took a while, but we got there, and it is what it is. But initially I was not for that. I hated that shit.
Really either, but it happens, and we all go through it. We all have those family members that might be saying or doing a little bit more. They don't have any negative or bad intentions, but sometimes they just do a little bit too much because there is a generational difference. And while I still love those family members, I just ask that all family don't go telling my parents what I'm doing. And for damn sure don't do it now, because at least back then I was still like a college student, so I was still very much so a kid. Like, I was probably like 19 or 20 at the time. But now that I'm 29 years old and I'm a grown-ass man who has now lived on my own for quite some time, I'm paying bills. I now live in my own state. Like, not my own state, but like
your own state.
I live somewhere else in Florida. I moved out of Ohio. I live in Florida. I'm living on my own. I'm doing my own thing. Don't be going around telling my parents what we're doing or what we're saying. First of all, my mom's on Facebook. She knows what I'm doing. And if my dad don't want to know about me, he can ask about me. So don't be going out there snitching, man. That's not cool. And if I catch you snitching, you getting deleted. I don't care if you my family. Because that's why.
I just believe in no snitching in general.
No snitching.
I just feel like, okay, you my uncle. I rock with you. You got my number. Text me. Call me. Hey, nephew, what's going on? What type of stuff are you doing? Be careful out there. Yeah, I will respect that. I say, okay,
I don't have a problem with you doing that.
Not a problem.
I don't have a problem with anybody doing that. I just don't want you to go to tell my parents, because I ain't no little kid no more. And really, I should be out here doing whatever I want. I mean, my parents can always give me advice, and they can tell me what they think is best for me, and I'll always listen because they're my parents. And they're dope like that, and that's what I need them to do for me. I need their guidance, and I need their help to help me get through life. But I still do what I want, because I'm my own person, and I lived 29 years, and I've left the nest. I'm a grown person. Really, some would say I should be building a nest of my own, but I don't really want kids, so that hasn't happened. But I'm just living in my nest, so leave me alone. But getting back to the original topic, if you ever get a chance, I'm sure it's still on YouTube. It's hilarious. Go listen to the Jamel Hill and Charles Rogers interview. That shit is hilarious.
So the original topic, I was saying that I became a Bengals fan because I told myself during I believe it was either the 99 or 2000, no, it was a 2000 draft. I say, whoever Peter Ward goes, that's going to be my team. That's the team that I'm going to pick. Sure enough, he got picked.
20 years later, this dude don't even like the Bengals.
I just, and it's crazy. Like, when he got drafted to the Bengals, some people are going to argue with me. Oh, he had a great little career. No, he didn't. He came in to that organization. There was no real veteran leadership because this was a clown organization then. Continues to be that today. His veteran leadership was like James Hunden, who ended up playing in the XFL or some shit.
James Hunden.
So that was he never really. I think that organization is everything, and we'll probably talk about that later too when we get into some other stuff. But I think that that whole the players, the coaches, and the organization all play a role in the success of a franchise. Like all those things play a role. In some sports, those each matter more than others, but they all matter in all sports. And the Bengals were a terrible organization then. They wasted Peter Warrick's talent, and he probably could have did better himself too. But he came and went. His highlight was like a punt return against the Chiefs, the undefeated Chiefs. I'll never forget that one. And that was it, But I kind of just stuck with that team. It was like, all right, this is my team. They got cool helmets and whatever. But boy, my apathy toward that team right now is like crazy, So it's like some of my homies, they ask me questions about them. I'm like, I don't even really want to talk about no Bengals, man. Like they have not won a playoff game, bro, since I was it like 89 when last time they won? 91, something like that.
Hitting Anderson,
yeah, and those dudes.
Shuffle was going on,
bro. So when I was maybe not even school age. Barely school age when they won a playoff game. Like, come on, man. It's ridiculous. So I know I have a certain apathy toward that franchise. But if you want to talk about the draft, my nigga, we can. We can talk about the draft.
I texted Brandon while we were talking, and you was going into your bag, and he hasn't responded back to the text. And I think we really need somebody to help us out with this NFL draft part, because I have not been paying attention to any, I kind of glanced at a Mel Kiper. He kind of put out his final board, even though he said he was still going to be making tweaks and stuff like that. McShay has out his top 300 ranking prospects for the 2019 draft. Mel Kiper has out his top 300. Okay,
so can I make a suggestion then? Okay. So now we in the bind, you know what I mean? This is like, when you do shit like this, you got to make adjustments. You know what I mean? If you have technical difficulties, all right? Oh, I got one too, but I want to hear yours now.
My adjustment, I was about to call Northcutt.
For the sake of comedy, I'm all for that. Because he's a clown. He's a Bengals fan. He's a Bengals fan, and I'm like, we always jokingly say I'm his life coach because he makes sad choices.
He is a sad choice, dude.
And I try to help him.
I love that. Let me tell you something. He's a tragic individual.
One of his sad choices.
But I love that guy.
Becoming a Bengals fan.
I truly love that guy.
He lives in Cincinnati, though.
He's a good dude. He thinks that
he's from there.
I feel like sometimes he thinks that I don't like him because he made some sad decisions.
Bro, we love Northcutt.
Leaving us in his basement, in his brother's room, while he fell asleep at some chick's house.
Oh, he played us. Bro, he played us, man.
He also was a no-show for my birthday. I tried to ask him to come out, and he was a no-show for the Ohio State-Michigan game.
Okay, I'm starting not to love him no more. I forgot about all that.
But with all those things, man, I understand shit happens.
About to get with you, Northcutt.
And he's still my dude, man. I still love that dude.
About to get with you.
Fuck it, I'm about to call him. We're not going to be able to talk about the NFL draft that much. Unless we're just looking up stuff as we speak without him. So let me go through the contacts. Let's see if I can pull up Northcutt. See if he can do.
Remember that time we was in Cincinnati and Northcutt? We'll probably talk about this story when he comes on.
We're gonna definitely talk about these stories if we can get him on.
About his sad choices.
Hello, Josh Northcutt. This is Panda from the Panda Podcast alongside my co-host Rat Cat. How are you doing today?
Good, all right, man. What's going on?
Hey, we were calling to see if you were able to do some potting, some quick impromptu potting, because we need somebody to talk to about the NFL draft. Because to be keeping 100, me and Rat Cat don't know shit, and you do. And you gotta help Rat Cat get excited for the Bengals next season, because
Yo, Josh.
He's coming off the.
Josh, man. Josh, you good, fam?
Off the wagon. You need to get him back on.
Josh, you good? You sound busy, man. You good?
You hear it?
Yeah, I didn't actually catch that last part you said. What was that?
I'll say that again.
I just said, first of all, I'm like, what's up, Josh? How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, brother. Just chilling at work, but super lazy day, so not too bad.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the thing. That's what I was asking you. Like, it sounded like you was busy, but actually now it sounds like you're not busy at all.
No, I'm good.
This dude is at work on the phone doing a podcast right now.
Hey, man, we had a chance.
This man living the dream.
Hey, man, hey, that's how you gotta do it. But
Hey, I might do the same thing. You should just call me when I go to work.
I could definitely if I'm like up.
I
don't know how your boy would feel about it.
Yeah, this guy IB.
He be ready.
I don't want to snitch. I feel like we shouldn't talk about what he does on the podcast.
You think Isabel listens to the podcast?
I hope. I'm afraid of her. I hope not.
I am definitely afraid of her. Like she scares the hell.
She's this older lady from France, and she got the whole accent, and she's real intense. She'll just look at you like, "What do you think you're doing?" Like, oh my gosh, don't talk to me like that. It's scary.
She is scary. Not even gonna lie.
So yeah, Troy called you because he's trying to put you on the podcast. Cause
we're doing some podcasts.
You know, this guy, like, you know, our first podcast, we was just winging it, bro. We was just talking, and we went for about an hour. Then the next podcast, this dude talking about he want to be professional guy, so he want to have topics and stuff like that.
Well,
we still ended up talking for like an hour.
We had topics the first one. I just wrote them down this time. I just typed them in.
Troy trying to be professional guy, so. I'm here for the jokes. Calm down, Troy.
I know you are. I'm joking around with you.
Okay. So we just trying to talk about the NFL draft. But we really don't know about the NFL draft. And I've been so disgusted with your favorite team. You notice how I said your favorite team because I'm not even fucking with these niggas, man. I'm not fooling with them. I've had enough of the foolishness. And you know, I thought that when Marvin Lewis was fired that I would feel differently. I still don't.
And you shouldn't. And you shouldn't. I don't feel any different either. I'm in the mood where I just want to tank, but that's not going to happen.
My G, listen. I'm trying to print up some do whatever for Trevor t-shirts. You feel me? Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback at Clemson. I'm thinking we could stack a couple 0-16s and get this man for sure. What's up?
The way I said, why not go full Browns with it? Anybody with talent, get rid of, get more picks, keep working at picks, and in 2021 we go get whatever for Trevor.
See what I mean?
Hey, that works. If y'all really, I guess that works, especially with the Browns getting so good and the Steelers and the Ravens already being. You can keep it over there. With the Browns and the Steelers being so good, like the Browns just picked up a bunch of dudes. The Steelers are, they're going through a little bit of turmoil, but they're a good franchise, so they're going to be good anyway. And then the Ravens, even after losing Ozzie Newsome, are still making smart choices, like going to get Mark Ingram, and they got somebody on defense. I can't remember who. But, basically everybody in the AFC North is getting better except for the Bengals. So,
yeah, no, literally, the Bengals have went from the top. And then that game happened that I still am never going to be over. And after that game, we've been the laughing stock again all over again.
Listen,
everybody has had a plan to keep building, and the Bengals held on too long.
I'm not asking you this to open a wound because it's probably the same bloody scar that I have. But can you just refresh me? What game are you talking about that you haven't been able to recover from?
That's unsimple, that wild card game. And that game that literally no one... the Bengals haven't been able to bounce back from it. It's been an entire different team since that day. That's the day that I fully realized Marvin Lewis lost that game. And then you throw in last year, you could tell those guys didn't care. Those guys had no interest in playing for him. You guys were trying to tell me for years, but I didn't want to listen. But it's clear. So I'm ready to rebuild. That's all I know.
I think it is time for the Bengals to rebuild. you've had some unfortunate injuries with like Eifert, and John Ross is not panning out because he can't stay healthy. Things like that.
You mean John Ross, the same guy we took a pick before you guys took Pat Mahomes? Is that John Ross? Or
Yeah.
the same John Ross that got drafted 3 picks before Deshaun Watson? Both of them who probably should have been Bengals. But it doesn't matter, right?
I'm really sorry about
In that draft, the Bengals weren't looking for a quarterback because Andy Dalton was.
But you were still in the Andy Dalton train.
People still believed in Andy Dalton. I was not sure whether it was Andy Dalton or Marvin Lewis at that point. So I wasn't ready to jump ship on Andy. I was like, well, if we get rid of Marvin, then maybe Andy will be okay.
I don't think Andy's even a bad quarterback. I think Andy's a competent quarterback.
Yeah.
But I also think Andy is good enough that Andy can win games with the talent that we may have around him. I don't want to win games. I want to keep losing. I want to go full Browns with it. It's not going to happen because we put way too much money into 30-year-old defensive linemen to do that.
It's just sad choices, but I will say this. The Bengals, I agree with you, they're not like attempting to tank, but it may happen naturally because like Troy said, this division got better. Every single team in the division really got better except the Bengals. They are the ones that didn't. So they might find themselves stuck at the bottom.
So yeah,
I'm still iffy on saying the Steelers got better.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, the Steelers are still going to be good, but I don't know if you can get better when you get rid of arguably a top 3 running back and a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Even if they are head cases. It'll be interesting to see how Connors reacts, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when Juju doesn't have a guy outside. Though I do think Pittsburgh answers that with taking money and getting him some help.
I can agree with you that the Steelers might not necessarily have gotten better, but the Steelers are always in the way of the Bengals, like always.
Yes, no, 100%. They're in our heads.
Always.
They own us. It's just...
That's really...
So...
But the Bengals have the 11th pick this year. Who do you guys think you guys are going to go after and try to get?
I've got 3 dudes in mind for the Bengals that I want, and then I got the pick that I think we're going to get. The 3 I want in order, number 1 is Devin White, but I think he's gone at 5 to Tampa Bay. With Quan Alexander leaving, that's a guarantee that they need a middle linebacker to run that defense. So I think Devin White being the best linebacker out there, he'll go 5. Number 2, and this is going to surprise both of you, and I might get a little crap for it to bring up some old stuff. I want Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, I love Goat Haskins. Keep talking.
I'm not against that. Go ahead.
But I don't think that happens because I think the Redskins are going to get up and get him somehow. Whether it's from pick 3 at the Jets, pick 4 of some Gruden conspiracy type bullcrap, or pick 8 with the Lions. All 3 of those teams have mentioned they wanted to trade down. And then the third guy, who I think we may get, pending what happens with the Lions, is Devin Bush. We clearly need
that's my
linebacker help.
guy. If y'all find a way to get Devin Bush, I will love you guys. I will absolutely. Any team that gets Devin Bush, I'm gonna love them. Unless it's some team like the Steelers, which they're not gonna get him, or some team I don't like, or the Broncos.
I think if Devin Bush is on the board when the Bengals pick, Devin Bush will be the pick, unless White is there, obviously. But I also think, that being said, I think Devin Bush goes to Detroit, so that's not going to happen. So the turnaround result is going to be quote unquote the boring pick, and it's going to be one of the offensive linemen that are available. And I've been hearing either Cody Ford or Jonah Williams.
Jonah Williams, another Alabama lineman like Andre Smith.
So,
Jonah's a little bit better. He's more versatile, in and out. I personally don't see him as a tackle, especially a left tackle, but Lord knows we need that right side fixed, and he can be plugged and played right away, either at right guard or right tackle.
Now, when I noticed when we were talking about Dwayne Haskins, you didn't mention that the Giants could pick him at 6. Do you think that the Giants are going to take him at 6?
I do not think the Giants take him at 6. I think the Giants are going to just settle nicely in there, wait for one of those defensive studs to fall to him at 6. Whether it's Quentin Williams, who I think is personally, my opinion is Q Williams should be the number one pick in the draft. I think Arizona's messing up taking Kyler Murray, but that's just me. Either two will be Bosa, so he'll be off the board, but then there'll be either Josh Allen or Ed Oliver. One of those guys will fall into place for the Giants.
I could see that. I actually agree with that. And I actually think what the Giants are going to probably do is with that 17th pick, they're going to take Daniel Jones from Duke. Because I think a lot, like my friends were talking about Daniel Jones on Facebook, and they were like, oh, I'm not big on, I don't see why everybody's so enamored with Daniel Jones. I don't get it. What's so great about him? Well, first of all, I know why people are. And Dijon, I'm sure you know why people are big on Daniel Jones.
I do.
That dude is out here making it happen at Duke. And really outside of TJ Roming, there are not that many playmakers at Duke. But he led them to 2 straight years of winning a bowl game. This year they won about 10 or 11 games at Duke.
Yeah.
That's really hard to do. Now, and then you also, that's just on Daniel Jones alone. Then you throw in his head coach is David Cutcliffe, right? David Cutcliffe is claim to fame, and his major thing that we know about David Cutcliffe is his tutelage of the Mannings. Who do the Giants have? Eli Manning. So so the Giants want a quarterback that they can have, that they can sit under Eli and kind of nurture him while he does his last hurrah as the Giants quarterback. And what better guy than a guy who comes from the same tutelage as the guy you have in Eli Manning. And now Peyton and Eli, they're going to have him come down to Duke, or really Daniel Jones don't even got to leave Duke because he's already there. They're going to go back to Duke. They're going to train in the offseason, and they're going to show him everything they know because they're all familiar with Coach Cutcliffe. So I actually think I see that as something that could happen, is that Daniel Jones is the choice for the Giants at 17. And then, like you say, they get a more value and a more talented pick at 6. Because I don't think anybody else is going to reach for Daniel Jones. Even though I don't know not quite sure if Daniel Jones is a reach. But he's a choice you could make at 17, especially if David Cutcliffe gives you the blessing and says that's a guy that you should take.
Oh, no, absolutely. Actually, that's exactly who I have the Giants taking at 17. Daniel Jones just makes perfect sense for everything you just said. If I had to make a prediction right now, it will be for the 4 quarterbacks that go in the first round, it's going to be Kyler Murray going number 1 to Arizona. It will be Haskins going either 3 or 4 to the Washington Redskins. And then Drew Lock to the Broncos at 10. And then Daniel Jones going 17 to the Giants.
I couldn't agree with you more. I actually like Drew Lock. I think he is a slept-on talent. He's got a really strong arm. You know, he really rallied Missouri a lot this year. There were he kept them in some games, like against Georgia. You know, he had a great game against them. He's really talented, so I think he could go. And the Broncos do need a quarterback now. John Elway needs to get this right in the worst way, so he's going to have to really do his research and get everything down on Drew Lock. But I could definitely see Drew Lock going at 10.
Drew Lock was the one I've been interested to see. I was actually talking to a buddy, though, and he made a very interesting statement. When you look back at it, this QB class, when we look later on, 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now, could be looked back just like that 2011 draft class. If you look at it, there's a lot of comparable quarterbacks with a very similar comparison of high risk, high reward. And Drew Lock reminds me a lot of Jake Locker. There's a lot of questions. It's going to be depending maybe a landing spot or 2. Team may have to reach on him because of the quarterback situation. But man, does that kid have an arm.
That's it.
The thing I like about this crop of quarterbacks is what I've sort of noticed historically is that, you know, the top quarterbacks in the NFL, with the exception of maybe Tom Brady, is that they haven't typically came from like the elite top of the line programs that are loaded with all guys, with tons of talent and everything like that. So I think that there's something to be said for quarterbacks, making the most of what they have and doing what they can with the players that they have. And with the exception of, Haskins and to a much, much lesser extent, Kyler Murray, I think that these guys are doing more with less at the college programs that they're in. And to me, I think that bodes well for them potentially in the NFL.
Yeah. I know personally I can't be a fan of Daniel Jones because, Duke. But that being said, if you watch his tape, he easily had the most drop passes by his wide receiver. He would hit a wide open receiver and they would just drop it because it was Duke talent. You're not getting Duke talent in the NFL. So.
Exactly. But what does happen in the NFL is the talent kind of balances out a little bit more. It's like it's not so overwhelming like it is in college football where you might be at Ohio State or Alabama and your wideouts are going to be first-round picks and they're going against defensive backs that are going to be working at Wawa gas station in Florida. So you just, you don't have that discrepancy in talent. So, in the NFL, I think it kind of prepares you. The other thing I wanted to say is, you talked about guys you saw play like Duke's quarterback. I got a chance as a Miami Hurricane fan. I got a first-hand look at Devin White at LSU, and that guy's sick. Nothing else to say there. Devin Bush, same thing. My brother's a Michigan fan. I think you are too. I never know these days with you. But
leave him alone.
But Devin White, same deal. I mean, runs the field, sideline to sideline, like instincts, sick. And of course, if the Bengals took Haskins, I mean, I wouldn't have an issue with that per se, because that was where we kind of originally started with what the Bengals were going to do in the draft. But you know what, man, I don't know if it's because of like all the sports failures that I've experienced lately, but I'm starting to be of the belief of being boring, and I really feel like if the Bengals organization, I think flash and dash ain't it anymore. I think that if this organization is going to change and turn a corner, let's do it. Let's build a team the right way. I say go inside, get linemen, go get a Jonah Williams or a Jawan Taylor or a Cody Ford, one of these guys on the line, and let's just start like that. Because I tell you what, I was sick. I know he was older or whatever, but when they traded Whitworth to the Rams, I was sick. I said, why? I mean, he's been a solid tackle for this team for years. Why? I just didn't understand it. And maybe they felt like they couldn't afford him or he didn't have much left to give, but clearly he was part of the Rams' blueprint to get into the Super Bowl. So obviously he had plenty to give, but I don't know. I just say a lot to say that I wouldn't mind if the Bengals just started that way. Build a solid offensive line up front, and then hopefully they do some little accidental tanking like we talked about earlier, and then you build the offensive line, and then after some tanking, now you can get a few explosive first round picks later, and a Trevor Lawrence or somebody to couple with them, and now we in business.
I like that. Now I'm going to talk about my Chiefs real quick, because now we don't have a first-round pick because we just made the move to get my guy from out of Michigan, Frank Clark. He was at the Seahawks. We traded our first-round 29th pick and a second-round pick for next year. I think we swapped some second-round picks, and we took Frank Clark off the Seahawks' hands. I'm kind of conflicted about that move. I don't know exactly how I feel about it. I kind of like it because, Frank Clark is a Michigan guy, and I can't turn my back to a Michigan guy unless it's Taylor Lewan. I just really don't like him. And also, I do think that we do still need to. I like any move that the Chiefs do to bolster our defense, because we all know it's pretty terrible, and I think we do need a true rush end now that Spagnuolo's coming in and we're going from a 3-4 to a 4-3 defense. I was just wondering what your thoughts were on the Chiefs making that move, and do you think that's a solid move that the Chiefs needed to make to take that next step towards trying to get it to a Super Bowl?
I was up in the air, and that's why I was actually really interested to hear your take on it. Obviously, a little biased. However, the money that comes around when they paid Frank Clark blows my mind. What was it?
Yeah, that was a lot of money. Like he's getting, didn't he get like 5? I know he's got 5 years on the deal, and I think it's like 63 guaranteed.
Jeez,
that's a lot. Like 63. Frank Clark is really good, and we need pass rushers, but especially since we let Justin Houston and D Ford go. But that's a lot of money for Frank Clark.
When it's a lot of money for Frank Clark, especially when you got to pay your franchise quarterback in 2 years.
Oh.
You potentially have to pay your franchise wide receiver. I guess now because his case got dropped. That's a different time for a different place.
Oh, but, I already brought that up to a homie. Go ahead.
Yeah, but anyway, so the wide receivers got to be paid, and then you look around, like you said, they desperately needed defensive players, but it seemed like a lot to give up for Frank Clark.
That's a
lot. A lot. But that all coming around, was there a Frank Clark at pick 20? What was it, 29 or 27?
It was 29? The 29th pick.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I think a lot of the good to rush ends, maybe Chase Winovich would have been around there, which I don't know. I guess people are falling in love with Chase Winovich. And I trust me, I love some Chase Winovich, obviously, because he's a Michigan guy. And just because he just seems like a really cool dude. He's a long hair, don't care. He's a brass talking dude. But I don't know if we want to get him at that pick.
That being said, I could totally see the Seahawks taking Chase Winovich to replace Frank Clark at that pick.
I would love to see Chase Winovich at the Seattle Seahawks. That would be.
It seems like his attitude fits the.
He definitely fits
how that franchise is.
He definitely fits that mold with them. I was also hearing rumors that the Chiefs were trying to go after Patrick Peterson from the Cardinals. Is there any way that we can get him?
I'm going to say no, but I know he was on the trade block last year. But, I mean, I feel like that's going to take a lot, and that would have took at least pick 29 to go with it. But, I mean, I guess you got some talent that maybe you could throw out there that you'd be interested in.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man.
I don't know either. I mean, because I really would want Patrick Peterson because to me, we need second. I think getting Frank Clark is obviously good. You do need pass rushers, but we had Chris Jones, who even with the loss of Justin Houston and D Ford, we still had Chris Jones, who was one of the sack leaders in the NFL last year.
And that secondary was an abomination.
That secondary is terrible. Now, I know we've gone out and we've gotten Tyrann Mathieu to play safety, and we went out and got Bashaud Breeland as a corner. But I think we need another corner that can really, take down the... And honestly, we would be getting Patrick Peterson on sort of the downhill. So he's on the downside of his career because I believe he's, 28 or 29?
He's 28, so I would say he's in his prime. He's probably got at least 2 more years of being Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, so if we can just get him for those 2 years, that's enough time to get my man Mahomes that Super Bowl he needs. So I really would have much rather had Patrick Peterson than Frank Clark. Not to say that I don't want Frank Clark, but we need as much secondary help as we can get. I feel like we got pass rushers.
I'm going to say all drafts I saw kept seeing the Chiefs taking secondary, and ironically, a lot of them I saw were taking Grady Williams, which I think would have been an excellent pick. I am a very big believer in Grady, and it's very hard to hate on a man with the name Grady. So, I mean, a DB who's Grady, give me all that, all day, every day.
Absolutely, I want to Grady now.
And he's from DBU. I mean,
Now, I don't know if this guy will be around. I feel like I'm being super biased here, but I can't help myself. I'm hoping that we still have our pick 61. I don't know if he'll be around this long, but I'm hoping my guy David Long will be around for that pick. I've seen that he was going to be like a second-round pick. I think more of a mid-round, second-round pick. But if we can get him at that position, I mean, for crying out loud, I've seen Justin Lane from Michigan State on higher on people's boards, and I'm like, you want Justin Lane, he's good, but he ain't no David Long. David Long, to me, was the best corner on Michigan's team. It's just Lavert Hill always got the interceptions because they actually went at Lavert Hill more than David Long. So if we can, I don't know if he'll be there. I think he might go a little higher because I think some people are going to have some common sense and take this guy. But I would love to see the Chiefs get David Long at the 61st pick because I really do think we need secondary. And if we're not going to get Patrick Peterson, then that's a guy that we need to get.
Yeah, that's no argument there. I did just read, though, that Peterson was a no-show to camp and asked to be traded from Arizona. So that will be something to follow, just like, ironically enough, division rival of your Chiefs. Chris Harris also said he wants out of Denver, which will be interesting to see a turnaround if he can get out of Denver.
Oh, wow. Chris Harris or Patrick Peterson. Give me one of those two guys and we rolling. Give me one of those two guys and my Chiefs, we rolling.
I don't think they actually trade Chris Harris to the Chiefs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A team that I could see them trading to, though, and a team to keep an eye on with that kind of deal would be the Texans, maybe. Because you talk about a team that needs secondary help. If Bradley Roby is going to be your number one cornerback, that is not a good day.
Absolutely not. So, it's interesting. I definitely want to see if the Chiefs can get a corner in the draft or if we can get one through a trade or free agency because I think we needed that more than we needed Frank Clark. But anything that can help our defense is what the Chiefs need because we're a defense away from being a Super Bowl team. I know I'm very confident in what I'm going to get from my guy Patrick Mahomes. It looks like Tyreek might be in the clear. He might get a suspension, but I can live with that. He can come back from a suspension and take the top off of defense. We still got our guy, Travis Kelce. There's a lot to like about what the Chiefs have on offense. It's the defense. That's the only thing that's in the way for us doing big things. It's definitely in that secondary that we need. So I'm hoping we can see some secondary people go to the Chiefs, and I think that's a major need for the Chiefs coming for the draft.
I do have one question for y'all, since you follow college football a little bit better than I did, obviously. I keep seeing Josh Jacobs as the only first-round running back, and I saw a little bit of him at Bama. I know he kind of came out of nowhere, like he was like third on the depth chart and then bounced up to number one. Is this dude really a first-round talent running back, though?
You want to take that?
I can take it. You can take it. I've been talking for a while, so maybe the fans when he
listen, man. That dude is the classic Alabama beast. I don't know how else to say it. He's a big, physical, fast dude. And
but, I mean, if that's the case, then I mean, outside like Derrick Henry's semi-blow-up game last year, I would just wait until like running backs are a dime a dozen. Like, not to throw it out here like that, but I mean, the Chiefs picked Damian Williams off the streets and just gave him a 2-year contract to be their starting running back.
Damian Williams was big for us.
Okay. I mean, these running backs are just all over the place. If the teams I've been seeing, like the Ravens or the Eagles, are looking at taking them, I feel like there's more need, especially those two teams. How about we get those quarterbacks that you guys have some weapon? Or, I don't know, an offensive lineman that can protect him so he stops getting hurt. Just food for thought, rather than taking Josh Jacobs.
I can agree with your take on that. I think that maybe you could wait around on a running back. I think a lot of teams should consider waiting around on the running back. I think that these holdouts by these running backs like Le'Veon Bell are further proof that you get the. James Conner had a great year for the Steelers this year, and it's because the Steelers' offensive line is great. I mean, Le'Veon Bell is still a good running back, and I think that I'm not saying that James Conner is better than Le'Veon Bell, but James Conner was very productive for the Steelers, and I agree with you in that regard that maybe the Steelers or the Ravens, especially since the Ravens picked up Mark Ingram, who's a very capable back, to roll for the Ravens. And I don't think Alex Collins is a bad back. I mean, I didn't think so. Maybe he's not as good as I thought he was, but I didn't think he was too bad.
They cut Collins.
Wow, shows you how much I know about what's going on in the NFL.
Yeah, no, they waived him after he got arrested in a car crash. And,
Okay, so to your point, man, I think that we could have this conversation about any first round graded running back who's not like
that's what I'm saying.
Who's not like a game changer. Like obviously there's certain guys that are just so like all purpose amazing, like a Saquon Barkley. Or you know. Running back. But unless it's a guy like that, I think that we'll always have that conversation. So I understand what you're saying, and if that's what you're saying, then essentially no, Jacobs is not that guy. Jacobs is not a Saquon Barkley.
I think Jacobs could be, and here's why I'm big on. Josh Jacobs was third on Alabama's roster, but that's because Alabama's roster is tough. Drake Harris was truly their best running back, but Drake Harris is really small, and I don't think he translates well to the NFL. So he was a good college back. And then Najee Harris is a big, like almost Leonard Fournette type running back. But he's a sophomore. He's a true sophomore, so he can't come out. And when he comes out, you know, we'll see where Kuiper and McShay have him. Josh Jacobs was just as good as those guys. And he's really talented. It's just when you're loaded in the backfield like they are, you don't always get to shine. But the real important thing that I think is what people like about Josh Jacobs is because he was the third running back and because he's so talented and he's more of a prototypical NFL style back, he doesn't have much tread on his tires this time around. So a lot of those running backs like Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, the AAF legend, they came into the league with a ton of tread because Nick Saban ran them into the ground because they were number one back. Josh Jacobs doesn't have that problem. He didn't get that many carries at Alabama, so he's going to come in. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be fresh. He's not going to have a lot of wear and tear. He's like that older car that doesn't have that much miles on it.
Like my old Miata before I wrecked it.
And like my Mazda 6 before I drove it clear across the country a bunch of times. But, yeah, I think that's why people are big on Josh Jacobs.
But I'm going to have to end it up on this one real fast, though. I'm going to go out on a bold statement, though I've heard it before, but this will be one that I will lay my ground or grave or whatever you want to say. 5 years from now, we are going to look at A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf like we look at Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr.
Ooh, those are two intriguing guys.
You're coming with some bold statements right now, man. Provocative statements.
I personally am kind of happy for DK Metcalf's sake that the hype around him has sort of died down because I think he was the workout warrior, the combine warrior. And I do think he's a good receiver. Don't get me wrong. Ole Miss has had one of the best receiving corps in the country for a while now with DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, DeMarcus Lodge. And I think Van Jefferson is going to be a good prospect next year coming out of Florida. But he left Ole Miss to go to Florida because he was behind those guys. So Ole Miss has had a great receiving corps. I just think we needed to pump the brakes a little bit on DK Metcalf. He had a tremendous combine, but he never had a 1,000-yard receiving season at Ole Miss. And while he was plagued with injuries, I think that comes into play. they always say the best ability is availability. We lost Josh. I appreciate him coming on the podcast, but I'm gonna finish this up and he can hear it later. The best ability is availability, and I just didn't think DK Metcalf had that, so I don't want him to get this hype. But I do think he could potentially grow into being one of those receivers that is a much better pro than he was a college player. And I've always been a big fan of A.J. Brown. He's been the consistent workhorse. He's been the consistent player. He's 6'2", he's about 235, 240, a thick guy. But he's always made, but even as such a thick guy, he's always made plays after the catch. He isn't just a possession guy. That dude can make big plays. So I've always been a fan of A.J. Brown, and I thought it was always weird that DK Metcalf was getting more look than him. But I wish them to the best, and I hope that Northcutt is right about that prediction, because I really would like to see those two do well. I think they're both great talents. I really think they both could be productive players in the NFL, and I just think that, the hype around DK Metcalf and really this receiving core as a whole has gotten a lot of love, and there's some question marks there in the receivers coming out. I'll share some receivers with you. Marquise Brown, N'Keal Harry, Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Paris Campbell, Terry McLaurin, Miles Boykin, Riley Ridley, Hakeem Butler. And then there was a name, I'm not seeing him here like I've been seeing for a while now, but here you have him at 15. Andy Isabella out of UMass. He ran a 4.31 at the combine. He had a very productive college career at UMass. Of those receivers I named to you, who do you think is going to be the receiver that you would take out of that group?
I was just now reading something about Metcalf that I thought was interesting that I wanted to share with y'all. So I want you to run through that group for me again one more time.
Okay.
I was caught up in that.
Marquise Brown, or Hollywood Brown, from Oklahoma.
Right.
N'Keal Harry from Arizona State. Deebo Samuel from South Carolina. DK Metcalf, Ole Miss. A.J. Brown, Ole Miss. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside from your trees. Paris Campbell, Ohio State. Terry McLaurin, Ohio State. Miles Boykin, Notre Dame. Riley Ridley, Georgia. Hakeem Butler, Iowa State. And then the off-the-radar guy that I named is Andy Isabella from UMass.
This isn't going to be an exciting answer, but one of the things that's going to be most important is where those guys go. Obviously, if they go to the right organization with the right situation, the right quarterback, the right guys around them, then they'll have more success. But because you're asking me, to give you an answer, I liked the physicality of N'Keal Harry, Arizona State. I just think that, that kind of receiver, there's always going to be a place for a guy like that you can just, regardless of who their quarterback is, what the situation is around them, you can just kind of throw it anywhere and they'll just go get it. So I guess that would be my lean. I don't know. What do you think? And by the way, the thing I was going to say about DK Metcalf was, and I knew this already, but I was reading, look, he is a combine animal. He looked crazy physically, but that whole stuff about him having less than 2% body fat is ridiculous. Don't ever let anybody tell you that they got 1 point anything percent body fat, because nigga, they'd be on their way to the hospital. When your body fat gets below 3%, it's not safe. If your body fat is below 10, then you look damn good. If your body fat is below 10%, you look great. When you start getting into 6 and 7, you start looking pretty crazy. And then below that, it's like, it's insane. But 2 and 1, and no, stop. Anyway, back to the question I asked. Who you like?
I look at me personally. I mean, just from any team situation, I've watched a lot of these guys play last year. As you know, I'm sitting in front of TVs. A guy who really jumped off the screen for me that I'm shocked is down here at 11 is Hakeem Butler from Iowa State. You talk about N'Keal Harry being a guy that can go after and get balls and pluck the ball out of the sky. You got that in Hakeem Butler. That is a red zone nightmare. Right. Now, I guess they're saying, it says right here, Butler's a big target with excellent land, big hands, and good top-end speed, has the frame and body control to win one-on-one downfield. He isn't as dangerous after the catch, but he's a powerful open field runner. He's not a big yards after catch guy, but that guy, I haven't seen a corner that can guard him. I mean, that guy has gone up against the likes of Iowa State, Iowa, and Washington State. Those are some pretty solid defenses. So you can't say, oh, well, he was in the Big 12 and he didn't go up against anybody.
Right.
He went up against some guys at Iowa and Washington State, and they couldn't. Washington State had been a pretty solid defense all year. They couldn't do anything with them.
Right.
The guy he's six, like it mentions, he's 6'5", 227. He can go up. I'm a big fan of receivers like that. I think you can go get them. They're always going to be. Like you said, there's always going to be a use for a guy like that. Especially a guy you can just throw it up there. He can go up and get it. He can win one-on-ones down the field. He's a good red zone target. He can even add weight and become maybe more of a tight end. And receiving tight ends are all the rage in the NFL because they're a matchup nightmare. You can't put corners and safeties on them, but they're too fast for linebackers. Hakeem Butler is your guy there. Now, for my Chiefs, we want speed guys. So if I'm drafting for the Chiefs, I'm looking at DK Metcalf, Paris Campbell, or Terry McLaurin. And then I might even go down, if he's available, to Andy Isabella if we can get him in a late round. I want speed. And this draft offers a lot of speed at the receiver position. But it doesn't get faster than Paris Campbell and Terry McLaurin. I feel like the Chiefs have a philosophy of it's a very similar to the taboo name of Art Briles, which is the last person that we need to associate with the Chiefs. Where I feel like the Chiefs are just going out and getting athletes, and we say, if you can run, we'll show you how to do everything else, and we'll find ways to get you on. This is what we did with Tyreek Hill. We got Sammy Watkins who can run. Chris Conley can run. Even Travis Kelce, our tight end, he can run. We want guys that can run, who are athletes, who can do. You don't get better athletes than DK Metcalf, Paris Campbell, Terry McLaurin. Paris Campbell is a good fit for the Chiefs. He does the jet sweep thing that you see the Chiefs do a lot. He can kind of stretch the field because he has a little bit of size. Terry McLaurin, I think he was the player that was often overlooked at Ohio State. That dude made big plays in big games. He can play in the slot. I've seen him be a deep threat for Haskins. I'm in love with those kind of guys. I want some speed guys at my Chiefs that my dude Patrick Mahomes can just get the ball to, and they let him work. I think Andy Isabella is going to be more of a fit for like the New England Patriots. But Andy Isabella is a nice little slot guy that I could see for any team, and they can find a use for him. And also, I'm going to throw out another name that I see on here, and that's Miles Boykin from Notre Dame. He's a good combination of size and speed. He made an incredible catch against LSU in the bowl game in the Citrus Bowl. He was a problem for Michigan early on in the game. Lavert Hill struggled with him at times. Miles Boykin can play. He's a receiver that you can throw the ball down the field to. He's got good speed, so he can stretch a defense. I like him as a receiver as well. But you want to hear some scary things that I've seen? I wanted to have him on, but unfortunately, like I said, we couldn't get him. Shout out to my man Brandon. But I heard that he's a Patriots fan, you know.
Yes, I know.
And I think he was saying that the Patriots might be looking at Dexter Lawrence.
Come on, man.
That is a guy that sounds like he's a perfect fit for the Patriots. He's a big guy. I think they run like a 3-4 scheme to a degree. He could definitely clog up the middle like a Vince Wilfork. He comes from Clemson, so he's got to have some sort of character. I mean, I know there's the whole, was he doping or taking performance enhancers or whatever. People might knock him for that.
That kind of stuff.
I feel like he's a great fit for the Patriots.
It gets overblown.
And he's actually a scary fit for the Patriots.
Good players are always a good fit for the Patriots.
And we're probably going to wrap up here soon, but we can't finish talking about the NFL draft without talking about the Canes, because I think the Canes I still see them as the NFL U team. Because even though y'all took in a dip,
that's a conversation worth having. But okay.
Even though I think you guys have taken a dip in production, the NFL talent is still coming and it's still going to the league. I think the major target from you guys is Gerald Willis. That was a guy you and I both really liked. Where do you see him? I see him on this list. He's listed as the 10th best defensive tackle. Where do you hope to see? What round do you hope to see Gerald Willis go?
Let me start here. Gerald Willis, I'm happy for him as a guy. He had some off the field issues when he was at Florida, and he transferred. He entered the portal, came to Miami, and he was on the practice squad, and it's like it gave him an opportunity to kind of change himself, get himself together to do better than what he was doing before. And I'm just glad that he got that opportunity at Miami to really show the kind of talent that he was. And he was the MVP of the team last year. I mean, he was the best player on the team. He disrupted everything that the opponents were trying to do. He was physical. He was one of the top players in the country in tackles for loss at his position. That's why for me, I mean, it's interesting to see that he's what you said, the 10th best defensive tackle.
Yes.
In the draft, and I know that there's guys with different physical traits and who have different resumes than he does. That have had a different playing situation than he's had, and maybe some of those things, his off the field stuff, did come into play. But frankly, I'm not exactly sure how to answer your question, because I think that any team that gets him in any part of the draft, at any round, is going to get a talented player, flat out. And I think you were kind of alluding to Miami as NFLU. I think that's kind of changed a bit. Miami's had some rough times on the field and with coaching and things like that and developing talent. And I feel like programs like Alabama and Ohio State have kind of taken that mantle from Miami a bit. But Miami is always a place that you can find talent. I mean, there's so much talent in that city, high school players that you can just look right out the window of campus and find, and some of them are going to choose Miami naturally, and they're going to be pros. That's just bottom line. I just don't think that Miami lately has had the high level pros, the elite first round surefire picks that they had in the early part of the 2000s, But I do think that and I also think that the players that were sort of in that category in recent years have not had the type of NFL success that we're accustomed to at Miami. I mean, Philip Dorsett was a first round pick, and he's been traded twice already. Sorry, I'm having a blank right now, but a lot of the guys that came from the Al Golden era of Miami football, that sort of draft class of guys, Duke Johnson is far and away like the best of that bunch. And Duke Johnson is a third down back in the NFL.
What about Denzel Perryman?
Denzel Perryman, when he gets on the field, is a solid player, but he's had a lot of injuries.
That's true.
So none of those guys, I guess what I'm saying is with with Miami players in the draft in the early 2000s, you were accustomed to guys when they were first-round picks from Miami. They were difference makers. They were guys that were going to be pro. Sean Taylor, rest in peace, was slowly becoming one of the best safeties in football, maybe of all time, and he had an untimely death. You know, you mentioned the Patriots. Vince Wilfork was a focal point of their defense for years, a Pro Bowl fixture, okay, for that team for years. There was just so many Miami Hurricanes players in those days. Andre Johnson, you know what I mean? Edgerrin James, you know, Reggie Wayne, like so many players that you just knew, like, they're first round picks. They were going to go to a team. They're going to be a Pro Bowler. They're going to be a difference maker. We're going to hear about them for a long time. You don't really hear about Miami players like that. Yes, you do see Miami players on rosters. You do see Miami players still existing within NFL franchises, but they're not dominating the league like they did in those days. So for me, I can't really, give that NFL U tag to Miami the same way I felt like I could before because of those reasons,
I guess I understand. I guess I still kind of see the Canes as NFLU because I just still see Canes in the league and I still see them doing things. Maybe not to the level like you said they were. And we all know them like when they're in their heyday. But I see the trend back up. I think that things are going in the right direction. And hopefully under the tutelage of Manny Diaz and the new staff, Miami can get back to those ways. But I just think it's important that we never forget to talk about a great NFL pipeline on draft day like the Miami Hurricanes and the U. And maybe that just comes from my bias and my major respect for the Canes, but I can't talk about draft time without talking about the Canes. So shout out to my Wolverines, my Canes, and really all these kids in the NFL draft because they're about to reach their dream, whether they're drafted or undrafted. I wish all these kids the best of luck. I hope that they are chosen where they thought they would be. If they're not, I'm sorry. I feel bad. I sympathize with you, but you still might get an opportunity to really show who you are, and you can't not let that disappointment resonate with you, but you can't let it affect you. And just to continue to go on because I'm rooting for you guys. You guys have been picked apart, scrutinized, just all kinds of stuff, all so you can live your dream. And I hope that a lot of you do. I know a lot of you might not, and unfortunately that's just the way this thing goes. But I'm rooting for all you kids because you guys are getting a chance to live out your dreams and make a lot of money doing it. And I just don't understand how you can root against that. So, best of luck to all these kids in the draft. Coming up, the draft is tomorrow, I believe, at 8 o'clock on ABC. I think they're doing the draft on ABC for the first time.
I feel like I heard something about them doing, like, ABC is going to have it, and then, like, ESPN is going to have it too. But it's going to be, like, they're both covering the draft, but they're covering from different perspectives, right? Oh, okay. So, like, one of the channels is going to have, like, some of the college football commentators, like some of those guys involved in it. But then the other one's going to have your normal, NFL guys that you're used to hearing from. And then they're going to, and I believe they're also, like, they're going to have, like, do sort of more, like, backstories and stuff on the players.
Yeah,
and make it
I think that's why Robin Roberts
personal thing with Robin Roberts on ABC. I started to mention her, but yeah, I think that they're doing a unique way about this time. So it'll be interesting to see.
Definitely be interesting. We're gonna check out the draft. I'm gonna be at work, so I'm gonna try to watch some of the draft while I'm there. But yeah, the draft. Good luck to all the kids that enter in the draft, man. I'm rooting for you. Because I want to see y'all succeed, man. Y'all are going to get to live out your dream. And we should always root for people to live out their dreams.
Absolutely.
Whether they do or not, we don't know. But we can always root for them and encourage them to keep following and go for them. Because that's what's important in life. Whether you're a Buckeye or a Spartan or a Seminole, a Gator, whoever. Now, at this point, you're out here living your dream. And I'm rooting for you. Where you went to school don't matter to me no more.
Especially if you get drafted by the Chiefs.
Yes, and if you get drafted by the Chiefs, I'm definitely rooting for you because I need you to help my team win a Super Bowl. And we're right there. So if you play defense and you get drafted to the Chiefs, you better come with it, man, because you are going to help us achieve that goal. You're the missing piece that we need to get our goal. But this is going to wrap up the the Panda Podcast. Was bringing it back with the Impact Panda there almost. I appreciate and love you guys' support. I didn't do this earlier in the podcast, and I apologize for this. Shout out to the Vibes. The lo-fi hip-hop radio station we used today was called Chill Hop. I believe my computer's being trashed and won't let me scroll down. Yeah, Chill Hop Music. I'm going to post a link of their channel or their live stream under our video. Check them out. Listen to them while you're doing your things, or if you just want to vibe and read a book. Again, this station is Chill Hop Music. Please like, comment, subscribe. And if you subscribe, like I mentioned earlier in the video, tell 3 other people that you know about what we're doing here, and have them tell 3 more people, and then those 3 people go tell everybody. So then next thing you know, we're branching out and we making history.
And I'll make you a t-shirt.
And Rat Cat will make you a t-shirt. Also want to give a shout out to my man Josh Northcutt. We called him at work, and he came on here like a G and did this NFL draft podcast with us. That was really dope of him. I appreciate him for that.
Don't let his job know that he was doing that.
Man, if they listening, I'm sorry if you got fired.
Listen to what you just said. Sorry if you got fired. Thanks for coming on our podcast.
Hey man,
thanks for risking your.
That shows you he's a real one. He putting his job on the line to make sure they can provide good content for us and our viewership.
If a nigga answers the phone at work, they're not worried about. They not worried
about their job security either. So.
Look, we trying to cut this podcast early, but nigga, on some real shit, if you want to call me while I'm at work and get this thing cracking back up,
as long as Miss Isabella don't walk in, we good. But again, till next time, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys' support, and hopefully we did better than the last podcast, and hopefully the next one we make is better than this one. Peace.
Watch your beef. Don't get E-Coli.
Yeah, and don't. I don't remember that company. The Rat Cat said the E-Coli was in the.
Just don't go out to restaurants and eat your beef.
Don't go out to restaurants.
Get your beef from the grocery store.
Go get the fish and chips.
If you go to K. Rogers, Giant Eagle, Walmart, Publix, go get your meat from somewhere like that.
Don't get your hamburger from Red Robin. Chill out on the Red. And y'all know I love Red Robin. I love you, but not right now. We not eating from you right now. This time for real. Peace.
All right.